Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at everything you need to know about Scorpio. So this video is for you if you have a lot of Scorpio energy in your natal chart. If you have maybe one or two placements, this video might resonate with you as well. Or if you're a cross watcher, welcome as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I have several videos on my channel about the Scorpio energy. I actually do have a playlist for Scorpio energy, 8th house energy. So I don't want to repeat too many things in this particular video. I will add the links to all of the videos I already have below if you guys want to learn even more. But overall, the Scorpionic energy, there is so much to say. Honestly, there's so much to say with the Scorpionic energy. There's so much going on with this energy. First of all, let's start with the basics. Ruled by the 8th house. It's ruled by the planet Pluto in current astrology. In past astrology, it was ruled by Mars. What does this mean? A whole lot of things. Pluto is the psychology, the subconscious, the unconscious of individuals. And then you have Mars, which is the god of war. So this is going to be a very fiery energy, even though it is a water sign. Scorpio is fixed water. And the best example that I heard from someone about the Scorpionic energy in terms of them being fixed water is that energy of being at the bottom of like a pool or the ocean or just underwater. And it's like you have all of this water around you. So it's the depths of things. And then on top of that, it's like, first of all, you're keeping yourself down, right? You're trying to stay underwater. There's that energy as well. And it's like you just feel the heaviness of all of the energy around you. Very, very good example for the Scorpionic energy being fixed water, because all of the water signs do represent something different. Also, them being fixed basically means they're going to be stuck in their ways. You can't change their minds. And they might have a little bit of an ego that they have to work through. All of the fixed signs are going to be dealing with this in one way, shape, or form. For the Scorpionic person, it's like once they've made up their mind about something, you can't change their mind, especially because they operate on an intuitive level. The Scorpionic energy deals with the undercurrents of energy. That's the whole thing here. That's why you can't lie to a Scorpio. That's why they're going to be very good at manipulating when they're in their shadow aspects. So for all of these videos, I am talking about the light side and the shadow side of the sign, because I do believe that we have to integrate the shadows of that particular sign to actually get to the divine version. And then especially in the Scorpionic energy, Scorpio goes through 3 different phases. That's probably a whole video of its own. I know different people are going to say maybe there's 7 phases. Some people are going to use different animals. This is the way that I see it. First phase of the Scorpio is a little scorpion with a stinger tail. So basically when Scorpio is in this phase, it's in the lower versions of Scorpio. So all of the lower level versions of society are going to be very Scorpionic, like it's that dark energy, okay? It's very Scorpio, especially in terms of money, because Scorpio does deal with other people's money. That's the 8th house. It's the house of other people's finances. The 2nd house, 8th house axis is the money axis. Also keep in mind, we do bounce off of our opposition sometimes. So it's really important to learn and understand what the opposition means, to understand even your own energy better, especially in terms of the Scorpionic energy. So because Scorpio does deal with money and it does deal with other people's money, it can deal with all the lower level facets of society in terms of money, okay? Because Scorpio is all about fast money. They know they can get fast money. So you'll find these individuals, especially when they're in their shadow traits, might sign up for pyramid schemes, might be gambling, might be into drug dealing, these types of things. Anything that's fast, quick money is going to be very Scorpionic in the shadow aspect. And again, these people can be very much deceiving when it comes to money. They can be the one that like tries to sell you something fast and takes your money again, because Scorpio, what nobody really talks about with Scorpio is they love the luxurious things in life, just like Taurus, just like their opposition. But the way that they go about receiving this is going to be, again, depending on where they are in terms of their evolution as a Scorpio. Scorpio as an energy understands that they don't have to work hard on the earth plane, because they're very aware of the metaphysical nature of this plane. So they know that they can basically grab money out of the ethers. But again, when they are in their lower level versions, so in that first state of the Scorpio, you'll notice they go after fast money because again, they know they can. That's really the energy. But when they kind of go through the higher levels, they know that they can manifest. That's the whole thing here to understand with the Scorpionic energy. And that's why a lot of the time these individuals are going to be very interested in things like astrology, the occult, the metaphysical world, the hidden things. Because again, in a way, these things do operate our world, if you guys catch my drift. So they know when they learn these things, they learn these tools, they can basically get to their goals to achieve what it is that they're trying to achieve. That's the thing with the Scorpionic energy. Again, always working with the undercurrents of energy. These people are going to be very good magicians, both in like a literal term and also in a non-literal term. So in terms of like learning energy, learning manifestation, but also they can be very good at hypnotizing people, getting people under their spell. Again, using the energy that they do have to suck people in. Sometimes I really do view Scorpionic energy like a vacuum. It's like it just sucks people in. There's just something there about the Scorpionic energy that makes people very interested in them. It could be because these people are partly mysterious. I just think it's an energy that they carry within them. It might have to do maybe with all of the knowledge they have. Scorpionic placements are going to be super, super intellectual, super intelligent, super emotionally intelligent. And that's why when they are in their shadow traits, they might emotionally manipulate. They themselves might be deceiving to other people as well. There could be an energy of this because again, they know how to present themselves to get what they want and they use their sexual energy. So there's a lot of things going on with this energy, because also the body part that Scorpio does rule is going to be the reproductive organs and the nose, which is interesting because the nose is connected to the reproductive organs. I learned that somewhere and I thought that was so fascinating. A lot of the time people who have an issue with their nose, there's something going on with their sexuality, which is just so interesting to see. But I learned that from another individual, thought that was super fascinating, and it's interesting to see that Scorpio does rule both the reproductive organs and the nose. So there is some sort of connection going on there. They're going to be ruling the blood and the bowels. So in terms of chakras, what chakra does Scorpio rule? I mean, I've been assigning different chakras based off of my own observations to all of the signs. For Scorpio, I would give them the sacral chakra is really what they do rule. Sometimes even the root chakra, if you think about it in terms of money, but the main chakra that Scorpio is ruling is going to be the sacral chakra. Anything to do with the pleasures in life, because they do bounce off of that Taurus energy. So there's that opposition coming into play, and it deals with sexuality, it deals with vulnerability, it deals with your emotions. So that's the whole thing going on here with the Scorpionic energy. As you guys know, and I'm sure so many of you have already heard, Scorpio is very much fearful of betrayal. They're going to be very much loyal, and they create a loyal energy out of people that are around them without even realizing. I think part of the reason for this is because they exude this energy where it's like they expect loyalty because they're loyal. Other people become very loyal to them. So that could be something that does take place with the Scorpionic energy. And because they do fear betrayal, there's always a theme of this going on within their life. I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg, what comes first. I don't know if it's because they carry the energy within them, they manifest it, or it's just something that's already there and it ends up happening anyways. There's always something going on with betrayal. They fear it. That's the first thing, but they also end up manifesting it. Again, I don't know if it's chicken or egg, but it ends up happening to them in one way, shape, or form. And again, it depends what version of Scorpio you can go into, because it's such an intense energy and they operate on extremes. When they are in their shadows, they are in the depths of the shadows. It's that energy of being at the bottom of the pool or the ocean, or however way, shape, or form you want to look at it. It's like they're just overwhelmed, so many emotions, and they can shut off. So the thing is with the Scorpionic energy, again, it can go on a huge range. They can be overly emotional, or they can be completely emotionally unavailable, where they fully shut off and they detach themselves. Same with their sexuality. There's always something going on with sexuality with a Scorpionic energy. Trigger warning, there could be a history of SA, okay, so sexual abuse could have taken place with these individuals. Now keep in mind, it doesn't have to be fully overt. It could have been covert in the sense where it's like maybe somebody said something that made you uncomfortable, maybe people commented on your body. Those more hidden energies where again, you don't realize that it's happening to you, but you've internalized it. So that could be something that does take place, and really they do deal with sexuality in one way, shape, or form. Now what's interesting is sexual energy, healing energy, and spiritual energy are all connected. It's all connected, and it's connected to your creative energy, and it's connected to your psychic energy. So these individuals are going to be super, super psychic when they are able to go into their higher chakras. They're really here to heal the lower traumas, and they're here to transmute the lower level versions and emotions and emotional traumas that have taken place. That's the whole thing with the Scorpionic energy. You guys are here to basically become the alchemist. That's the whole thing to understand, because you go through those 3 different levels of Scorpio. Again, some people might say 7, I just say 3. So little Scorpion, when you guys are stinging people, you guys can be triggering people on purpose. Like that's a huge shadow of Scorpio, because you guys psychically pick up on other people's maybe triggers, and sometimes it can happen unconsciously without you guys realizing, but also sometimes because you guys are intuitive and you guys might be in the shadow, you guys might be doing it on purpose to probe at the other person and put salt in the wound. So that could be a huge shadow of Scorpio. You guys can sometimes maybe come off snide, very much intimidating. The Scorpionic energy to people is going to be intimidating whether you guys are aware of it or not. You guys are going to be blunt. You guys are going to say it like it is. You guys are going to be honest, and again, to the point where it's like cutthroat. This energy can be very ruthless, especially if you guys are unaware, because keep in mind, you're dealing with Pluto and you're dealing with Mars. It's like such an intense energy, and when they are in their shadow traits, there can be emotional manipulation that does take place, or even psychological manipulation. Scorpio energy can also basically get people to come to them. For example, let's say you guys are interested in someone, this energy can somehow energetically bring people to them. Let's say you guys have a crush on someone, energetically you guys can bring that person to you. You guys just do something, you guys just act a certain type of way, because you know if I act like this person's going to react like that. If I do this person's going to react like that. Always 10 steps ahead. Obviously, you guys want to use it in the divine version, because really, like I said, this energy is here to alchemize, to transmute your own traumas, things that have happened to you, and emotional energy. That's the thing. So you guys can go into the higher chakras, so you guys can manifest in the divine version, but also heal. That's the thing. It's a very healing energy when it is in its divine version. So out of the little Scorpion, you guys go into the ego, you kind of see things from a little bit of a higher perspective, but you're not quite there yet. You know, you understand that there's something going on. Oh my gosh, okay, maybe I have shadows that I have to integrate. Oh my gosh, you know, maybe I trigger people on purpose and I didn't realize that that was a shadow trait that I had, like these types of things. You're kind of seeing things from a higher perspective, but you're not there yet. The ultimate energy is the Phoenix rising. You go through death, rebirth, death, rebirth, death, rebirth. That's why actually in the tarot, which is also what I've been saying for all of these signs, is in the tarot you guys are represented by the Death card. It's really like, honestly, when a Scorpionic person comes through another individual's life, the way that I see it is like that person is there to do shadow work. You guys are really here to bring out people's shadows, and again, it's going to happen whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're doing it in a positive sense or a negative sense. You guys are always going to be a mirror to other people's things. And this is why the Scorpionic energy dislikes people who lie so much. They really value authenticity, and they're always going to pick up on energy. For them, energy does not lie. They're going to know if you're lying to them. They're going to know if you're not being authentic. They're going to be able to read people like a book. It's really a gift, and it's very psychic in the sense. It's very intuitive. It's feminine energy leaning. Keep in mind, we all have feminine or masculine energy within us. Does not matter what gender you were born into. So it's feminine energy leaning, the Scorpionic energy. Most of the time, people who have a lot of Scorpio in their natal chart or even 8th house, there's something going on with feminine manipulation when they were growing up. It's on the feminine side. Doesn't necessarily have to be the mother, although most of the time it does deal with the mother, especially if you have it in the moon, or especially if you have Scorpio in your 4th house. It's going to be something to do with feminine manipulation in a sense where it's like either you were emotionally manipulated when you were growing up, or there was just something that was not clear in the home. That's the thing. So it's like when Scorpio is in its shadow version, it's like they could become very paranoid. That's really something that happens, and a lot of people do talk about this with the Scorpionic energy, because what happens is like you guys are psychic and you're picking up on things, but you're in the fear aspect of the psychic gifts, if that makes sense. So it's like you're constantly thinking the worst. That's the thing with all psychic gifts and abilities. The psychic gifts and abilities going to manifest differently within people depending on your vibrational frequency. So when you're in the fear energy, you are going to fall into paranoia, maybe thinking that people are out to get you and all these sorts of things, because again, there was some sort of manipulation. So it's like, because Scorpio does deal with the ego and it does deal with that fixed sign energy, it's like when they figure out that they were lied to or deceived, especially if they were growing up, they become very weary of everything around them. That's why they're super analytical. And sometimes this can waste a lot of mental energy if you think about it. But again, you want to take that energy and put it on something positive. So for example, let's say you guys have some sort of goal. Let's say you guys are working towards making a certain amount of money, or because Scorpio does usually deal with money, so it will be this, or you guys are trying to manifest something or bring something through. If you guys are focused on just that, and you guys are putting all of your energy into that thing, you guys are going to manifest it. Might not be fast, because again, it depends where you're at vibrationally. That's the thing with everything on this earth plane. There's really a lot of layers to things. Like manifestation isn't always you write it down and it happens. It depends a lot on where you're at vibrationally, what's going on with the traumas you've integrated, and your shadow traits, and just things that may have happened to you, your emotions, and all of these sorts of things. So it's really, really interesting to see this energy, to see how it manifests in terms of shadow traits or the divine version. Because in the divine version, it's the Phoenix rising. It's like you've come out of the ashes, you've gone through all of these things. Because the Scorpionic energy, there's always going to be a lot of things that do happen to these individuals. It's going to be on a range. These individuals are going to struggle with vulnerability. That's going to be a huge thing you guys have to basically work through, because again, it's that sacral chakra. So you guys might struggle to actually say how you feel. You guys might feel like people need to understand how you feel right off the bat. You know, you guys might be telepathic in that sense because you guys pick up on everything, but most people are not like this. That's the hardest thing, I think, for a Scorpionic individual to understand. And then you're super intelligent as well. Like this energy can also deal with pride a lot of the time, especially let's say if they're interested in someone and they feel like that person should come to them. The Scorpionic person might go their entire life without actually saying their feelings to that individual, because again, it's like it deals with pride, it deals with ego, it deals with power and control. That's the biggest thing with this particular sign. That's why, again, all of the lower level versions of society deal with power and control, if you really think about it. And in this current society, what are we dealing with really when we think about power and control? Money and sexuality. Those are the biggest things. And then Scorpio, lower level version, Scorpio does dominate this, if you think about it, because it's interesting. You have Leo, who also can deal with sexuality, but the Scorpionic energy is the power aspect of sexuality, if you really do think about it, because they can sometimes use sex as a weapon. They really can. They can withhold. They can use it to manipulate people around them. They can use their sexual energy overall, just like flirting and, you know, luring people in to get what they want, because again, it's power and control. It's going to be a struggle with this placement. There's going to be a lot of work that needs to take place with Scorpionic energy. There's going to be a lot of integrating the shadow aspects of Scorpio, because the most interesting thing with the sign is like the thing that they are seeking the most, the mind, body, spirit connection, intuitive connection, people to understand them as deeply as they've met themselves, people to understand these aspects about themselves, to be psychically connected again on all of the levels. They also fear it at the same time, and then it gets intermingled with the power and control energy. And it's interesting because a lot of the time people talk about like, oh, Scorpios are super sexual and all these sorts of things, but not necessarily. They can go on a huge range in terms of their sexuality. They can be hypersexual, but most of the time, if they're behaving in this hypersexual way, is because they're wounded, in the sense where it's like they didn't get the love that they were seeking, because again, these sacral chakra. But again, it really deals with them because they struggle with vulnerability, and then, you know, they might end up in these situations a lot of the time that were like ego driven situations situations in the sense where it's like, again, like I was giving you guys the example of they expect the person to know that they like them, something like this. Or if they get betrayed, that's it for them. They can go into the hypersexual energy, or they can go into the other extreme, because Scorpio is on extremes where it's like they're either asexual or celibate, no longer interested in engaging in this area. I would say that this is one of the biggest lessons that the Scorpio energy has to master on this earth plane, is to intermingle the mind, body, spirit energy and their sexuality and all these sorts of things. Because they do operate on such extremes, they can also go through the extreme separation of the self where it's like they only have emotional connections with people, or they only have sexual connections with people. Like, it's really going to be challenging for this placement to integrate the two worlds together, but that's really what they're here to do. That's sometimes how I see some of these signs in astrology. It's like there's a divine version of the sign of like the potential of what that sign could be, but you got to integrate the shadows, and it's like you're meant to master exactly that. That's really what Scorpionic energy is here to do. You guys are meant to master all of these things, integrate all of these shadow aspects of yourselves within yourselves so you guys can operate in that divine version, because ultimately it's the alchemist, it's the magician, it is the master manifester in the positive sense. Where you're the alchemist, you are alchemizing energy is really the whole thing with the Scorpionic energy. And another thing with this energy is like they can become super obsessed with their goals to the point where it's like they have blinders on, they can't see anything other than that goal. You guys kind of bounce off of Taurus in that sense where it's like it's a fixed sign. It's like you guys are just like, I'm gonna get this goal in this way, and you don't see anything outside of that box. And it gets ego driven in a sense where it's like it's my way or the highway, like this is the only way to go about achieving that goal, where it's like there could be an easier way but you don't see it because it's like you're hyper focused on this particular goal that you guys have. And it's interesting because this like super intense focus energy, the obsessive energy that you guys do carry and possess, and it's like when you only have one thing in your mind that you guys want to do or achieve, it's like you will eventually manifest it. But the question is, at what cost? Is really what it is. That's really the whole question here, because it's like, again, are you going to go into the shadow traits? Are you going to go about it in a divine version? Are you going to try to manipulate energy? Which ultimately, if you're trying to manipulate energy or do spells or do anything of that sort, it is going to backfire. But that's a whole different video for a different day. Even in terms of like the obsession energy that Scorpio does carry, it's like you guys can get into people's heads, you know what I mean? Because it's like you're constantly thinking about this person, you're thinking about them so much, where it's like they start thinking about you, because that's kind of how energy works. But again, there's so many more things to say in terms of energy and energy work and energy healing. You guys are probably going to be interested in this world, especially when you're healing and you're going into like those more divine versions and aspects of yourself. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up this video here. I will put in the description box below other Scorpio videos that I do have on this channel, because I can talk for days and days and days on ends about this energy. There's always something to talk about. But I do hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.